Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a beautiful birthday shaker card featuring some brand new products from Pinkfresh Studio. Today is Pinkfresh Studio release day, and I think you're going to love this release because there are 5 new washies as well as the coordinating stamps, dies, and stencil sets. Now, I have 4 of them here. I forgot to pull one of them out, but I'm going to kind of walk you through these. So you'll find that each one of these product suites includes a stamp set that has a couple of coordinating sentiments with it, a layering stencil set, as well as a coordinating die set. And that coordinating die set works with the stamp set as well as the washi tape. And look at this beautiful Celebrate washi tape. I think it's so unique. I love the way that it looks when you roll it out onto white cardstock. This is the Enchanting Flora washi, the Chrysanthemum washi, and the Indigo Roses washi. And I've put all of these onto Hammermill smooth white cardstock. But one of my favorite ways to use these washis is on vellum. So I have rolled out a strip of each of these onto some vellum as well, and that allows them to kind of maintain their really translucent feel, and you can use these on a card as well. But the colors kind of are a little more muted on the vellum versus the white cardstock, so I kind of wanted you to see those up next to each other. Now, last month in September, Pinkfresh Studio snuck in a little mini release, and it has all of these fabulous new glitter drops in them. They are one of my favorite new embellishments. I'm going to be using some of those today, and one of my favorites I think is sold out right now, but make sure you hit that notify me button. This is a look at all the colors here, and I think they are so much fun. So they're like a drop with all of this wonderful glittery goodness in them. This is the champagne color. There are several sizes of these embellishments in each package, and they come in these great little plastic zipper pouches to store them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on my card today. And while that washi tape is really gorgeous, I wanted to show you this stamp set in action. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one-piece stamp from the backer, and you can kind of tell there that I'm pulling the backer from the stamp rather than pulling on the stamp and stretching the stamp. And this is a really large stamp. It doesn't really fit in my standard MISTI, so I am using my memory MISTI here today. Now, there are tricks that you can use with a standard size MISTI if your stamp is too big. So I will be sure to put a link to one of those in the description below. But since I have the memory MISTI, I thought I would go ahead and use it today. So I've put my vellum into that lower right-hand corner, and I've mounted this one-piece stamp onto the lid of my MISTI. I prepped my vellum with a little bit of powder tool, and then I inked up my stamp using some Versamark ink because I am going to emboss these. Now, I'm using my Pinkfresh Studio stamp press tool. You could use your sleeve and pull it down over the heel of your hand. Whatever you need to do to make sure that you get good, even pressure over the entire stamp so that all of your ink transfers. Now, I went ahead and stamped this using the Versamark ink onto white cardstock as well. And I've added Brutus Monroe gilded embossing powder to both of these stamped images, and now I'm heat setting them. And you can see I have some gorgeous balloons with those floral and leafy accents. I think it is so much fun. Now I'm going to use the layering stencil set just on the white cardstock version of this. I'm going to die cut both versions and kind of layer them up, but I'm only going to add color to this white cardstock version. And I wanted to kind of talk about using a stencil like this and using multiple colors, because you can see that some of these images are spaced apart. Now, in some stencils, if you want to use different colors in different areas, you may have to mask. But for this particular stencil, I'm going to do the tiniest bit of masking. But for the most part, I'm going to pick kind of these color zones. Now, I've gone over this entire stencil number 1 with a light layer of Ballet slipper. So every image on here has a light layer of Ballet slipper. And then I'm going in with my blending brushes and I'm kind of coloring the different zones using some different colors. Now, this works because that Ballet slipper adds color, But these colors that I'm using are all colors that will blend with that really light pink ink. So I'm not using like a weird green or something that might kind of interfere or react weird with my pink. Instead, I'm staying towards that warmer color side of the rainbow and using colors that kind of fall in that same family. So you can see I've added some color to all these balloons, and I'm just going in without even masking and adding those colors. Now, by making sure that I'm using colors that are in the same family, if I get a little orange over into the yellow or into that little bit darker coral reef pink, it's not going to matter because those are going to blend together, but I still will get some color variation within all of these images. So I colored my balloons with the different colors, and now I have stencil number 2, and I've gone over the entire thing except for the base of the cake with the Pinkfresh Studio olive ink. And then I just used some mint ink to color the base of that cake stand. Now I'm coming in with some more intense colors, and I'm adding those on to the large areas of the florals. So I have some coral reef, I have some candy violet, I have some ballet slipper and peach fuzz. And this here was really the only area that I found I needed to mask because I was using that purple color and I didn't want it to get over into these other florals that I'm coloring. And that area up there with that balloon cluster has some florals that are really close together. So now I'm going in on the detail layer and adding some darker colors to my florals. And finally, the final stencil adds the detail or the darker layers to that greenery. And so I used Evergreen ink for that. Now, once I have all of my ink blending done, once again, lots of colors, but very little masking, I've gone ahead and lined up my one-piece die over this image and run it through my Gemini Junior. And I have all of these beautiful balloon and floral images die cut along with the 2 cakes that I have there. And I didn't need to mask. I was just really careful with where I was putting my colors and the colors that I chose. Now, I got a lot of images out of this one stamp and stencil, and I actually made 3 cards using these images. And I'm gonna share another one of those cards tomorrow, so be sure to join me. I've also gone ahead and die cut the vellum heat emboss layer using that same one-piece die. And now I'm going to start building my shaker card. I'm using the inverted scallop die from Pinkfresh Studio, and I die cut it from this panel that I die cut using the essential rectangle, stitched rectangle dies from Pinkfresh Studio. I will have all of this linked below. And then I've also used this dotted scallop cover plate to die cut a panel, and now I have this beautiful texture. I'm just trimming it down so it will fit behind my stitched rectangle that I have that window cut out of as well. And I'm going to add just a little bit of ink blending to the area where my shaker window will be. And this is just going to kind of give it a little bit of variation here. I'm using the Pinkfresh Studio Mint ink and a blending brush and just adding a light layer there. And now I have grabbed the Birthday Wishes stamp from the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it onto some vellum. I'm going to heat emboss it, so I went ahead and prepped the surface of my vellum using my powder tool. I inked up the stamp using some Versamark ink, and now I'm adding the gilded embossing powder from Brutus Monroe, and I'm heat setting that. Now, I love this sentiment because there's a coordinating die for it, and so I went ahead and die cut that out, and I'm ready to start assembling my card. So on the back side of this panel, I added a thin bead of liquid glue around that window, and then I added some acetate to the back of that panel. Now I'm going to use some liquid glue to adhere the 2 layers of balloons together. This is just giving it a little bit of fullness and a little more oomph to that kind of image. It's beautiful on its own, but I think it's always fun to layer vellum elements behind stamped images to kind of give it a more ethereal look. Now, if you want to add strips of foam adhesive behind this panel with the window on it, you could absolutely do that, but I went ahead and took one of these fun foam adhesive panels that I create on my own, and I just cut a really messy circle out of it so that I can just do this all in one piece. I've laid that on the back of my panel, and I've set that aside so that I can tie a gold thread bow around the base of these balloons. So I'm using the DMC Diamant light gold thread, and I have 2 layers of that, and I'm just tying a bow around the strings of these balloons. And now I'm going to add this to my card front using a little bit of foam adhesive. Now for my shaker filler, I'm actually using the brand new glitter dots from Pinkfresh Studio. I used a mix of the champagne and gold colors, and I kind of moved them into the center of the window area, removed the backer from that foam adhesive panel that I placed on the back of my card front, and then I placed that right over that panel. So now I have all of my shaker bits contained within that window, and it's sealed in by that dotted scallop panel that I created. Now I went ahead and added my sentiment using a little bit of liquid glue. I just kind of hid it behind the embossed lines, and I'm finishing this card off by adding a few of those glitter drops to the front of my card as well. And I added that entire card front to a top folding A2 size card base, and that finishes off my really beautiful birthday shaker card. I think this stamp and die and washi set is absolutely gorgeous. You could do this in so many colorways. And if you really wanted to get fancy and add a lot of different colors that are in different families, you could absolutely mask this. But I wanted to show you that you can use it without masking and get a multicolor look as well. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies, as well as some information on a blog hop celebrating this brand new release from Pinkfresh Studio. There'll be prizes and inspiration, so be sure to join me over there. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Thanks for spending your time with me here today. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.